To see who did that and how they can help out. Did you turn it into me as your writing notebook on Friday by accident? Okay. So I put all the writing notebooks up there. I'll give it to you later. Okay, go ahead, take it.
And I just get my grades.
No, don't worry about it. No, I already looked over them Saturday morning, so no worries. I'll just grab yours at some point.
Which spot? Is there like the newest where we are? Yeah, can you show?
One thing we're having an issue with is people are leaving. Somebody left a whole cardboard box and lost and found on that workstation over there. So that's not particularly fair. And then Elisa had to use her time to clean that area up. So we have areas to stick our cardboard, which is in the back of the room. Things have a spot. So if you don't know where something goes, it has a spot somewhere. So ask people what the spotty spot is. And if you can't figure it out, then talk to me and I'll tell you what it is. Okay, but we should not be leaving stuff. And that goes for on top of your desks. Those are people's workplaces. It's not your personal place to put whatever you want on that. So there are going to be some people who go back to work there. If it's a cluttered mess, that's not fair. All right, so we need to be sure we're being attentive to that.
Yeah.
Last thing, I think that's it for us start. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, habits. We've been talking about habits. If you don't have good habits, it's really hard to reach goals. You can have the best goal in the world, but if you don't have that habits internalized and you're not practicing on new habits, it's going to be super hard to reach any of those goals. So I want you to think right now, as you think about yourself as a reader, what are the habits that maybe you have right now? And maybe what are some habits you might need to develop? Okay. So on one hand, what are some habits you have right now? And then the other, what are some habits maybe that you need to develop? I'll give you about 30 seconds to think about that. And now at this point, turn and talk to your partner. What are some habits you have? What are some habits you might need to improve on? Yes.
I need my personal habit one of my habits, I don't know if it's still here, but it's my habit is to do whatever I like. I have a habit that I also do. I stamina. Sometimes I do less time, and sometimes I do more. So I want to.
All right, another 15 seconds. All right, 3, 2, 1, 0. So what we're going to talk about today is when we are developing a skill, when we're practicing a skill, there are some certain habits that we need to get into so that we can improve upon that skill. Some of those habits include making sure we're using our partners. We're talking to our partners are talking to us, holding us accountable. We're using the progressions. So that's that skill tracker that I printed out for everybody except for 2 people. So Gregorio and Santiago, when we're doing some of this, looking at some of this, look at your partners. Skill tracker, so you can be successful with that part of it. So it's looking at the progressions. What is the expectations for that skill for 5th grade? Super important for you to understand what those are. If we don't know our expectations, how can we possibly live up to them, right? And then as you're doing that, setting some goals for yourself and really doing the work of thinking about your thinking. Okay, where are you now? And really using those progressions and your partners to help you out. Okay, to make your thinking better. All of our thinking can always be better. Can just be better. So I'm going to go through that process with you right now, what that might look like. Let me see if I can zoom in on this here. So I was doing some work on the character response and how they change strand, because that's kind of our big focus for this unit, is understanding characters and noticing when they change and how they react to things. Okay, so here on the left-hand side, maybe I'll move it over so you can see a little bit better. Is that better? That's actually the 4th grade strand. So this is what you should, quote unquote, be doing at this point. Did anyone use these progressions last year with their teachers at all? This is something fairly new. No? Okay. I didn't think so. But this is the stuff that as coming into 5th grade that you should be doing in your thinking and when you're writing about characters. Is this sort of stuff, paying attention to it. Okay, this idea of I notice how a character, no, I'm not going to read that. And then over on the right-hand side, that's 5th grade. So this is the 5th grade thinking. And this is what we're expecting you to master by the end of this unit, which is September 22nd. So that's 18 days. That's what we're saying. We need to be doing this thinking now. We need to be doing this work now. So I want you to take a look at those 2 things. So the 4th grade expectations and the 5th grade. Can you all see it in the back grade? Can you read them? So you need me to zoom in a little bit more? Let's see here. All right. But I don't know how we're going to. I guess I could just put it underneath. All right. So obviously I backed these up. So the top one is 5th grade. And the bottom one is 4th grade. So I want you to take a look at them and talk to your partner. What do you notice is the difference between the 5th grade expectation and the 4th grade expectation? So read through those and talk to your partner. What do you see the differences? What is it asking you to do?
In the 5th grade, it's more like this teaches it's like a word that more elements that you need to give it something. Let's see on 4th grade. Think about
yeah, the top one's 5th grade.
The 4th grade is feelings, traits, motivation, or behavior. In the 5th grade, and see how to cast stuff.
All right, 3, 2, 1, 0. I definitely heard people say there was more elements, or maybe it was a little bit more specific in 5th grade. Hopefully, too, you noticed that whole new portion of know what a character learns about life can often be the theme of a story. So they're starting to talk about noticing what characters are learning and kind of thinking about that in a way of themes. So I agree with what I heard there. So this is the process. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share something I wrote about when Rob stood up and said, "No, stop it. You know, run." When he stood up to those people that were harassing Sistine. Okay, and what I wrote in my journal's up there, but I transcribed it here, is, wow, that was really different for Rob standing up and shouting, "No, stop it," when the kids were fighting with Sistine. I think seeing the tiger has given him confidence. Okay, so not only did I write about an event that happened, I wrote about what my thinking is. Okay, I wrote about what my thinking is. So what I'm going to do is I have that idea. I'm going to go through now this 4th grade standard, this 4th grade one, and really think, what have I done that is correct with that? So it says, I notice how a character changes across the story. A change. If I go back, it's probably zoomed in pretty close. Yeah. If I go back, he says, I said that was really different for Rob. Okay, so I did notice that there was a change. So I did that. It then says, and I'm just going to read it, I'm not going to zoom in anymore. I think about what key moments in the story caused the character to change. I said what I thought. I said seeing the tiger has given him confidence. But now that I'm thinking about it, it did say maybe plural, so moments. I definitely only said one thing. So I don't even know right there if my answer is 4th grade level, because I only talked about one moment. Maybe it could be, but this whole idea that there's more than one moment, there might be different things that's causing him to change. So let's look at that 5th grade one. Let's look at the 5th grade one. I'll zoom in now on this 5th grade. And now I'm really just going to be looking at those first two. I'm not going to worry about the theme right now, because normally this comes at the end, this idea about learning about life. I notice how a character changes across the story. Okay, I think I did that. Again, I went back, I see that evidence. I said, wow, that was really different, so that's a change. I think about many possible causes of these changes, including other story elements, the problem, the setting, other characters, and so on. Well, I definitely didn't do that work. Why don't you talk to your partner? What is something I could add to my response that might help me start getting more to a 5th grade level expectation in my thinking? What's something I could add to it? And again, this part here, I think about many possible causes of these changes, including other story elements, the problem, the setting, other characters, and so on. So it's really asking for a lot of information there, not just one thing. I only said one thing, the tiger. So what might be some other reasons that Rob stood up and said no during that? That would help my answer become better. Talk to your partner.
Nice translation.
Talk to your partner.
Do it, and just inspired.
Let's stay on topic, please. Hold each other accountable. Push each other. Have high expectations for each other. Another 10 seconds. Wrap up your thought. All right, 3, 2, 1. So I heard some ideas about maybe because he likes Sistine, like he has someone in his life that he thinks like that could be a friend or someone that he cares about. Another thing that we could think about when it comes to this idea that he had that paper in his pocket, right, that says he never had to come back to school again. So maybe that was on his mind too. This idea of I'm not going to come back here. So sometimes that makes us a little braver. So that might be some things that I could add to my answer to make it more of a 5th grade level thinking and 5th grade level answer. So I went slow, right? I looked at my entry line by line and thought about that progression line by line. I didn't just go, yeah, fine, looks great, super. Okay, I really read it. I tried to understand it. I looked at my work. Okay, so that's the expectation when you're doing this with you and your partner. which we'll probably do later in the share, okay, is you'll be coming back with an idea, some evidence about that idea, and talking to each other about it. Okay, so I found that evidence in my writing. I didn't just say, yeah, I have it. I really looked back and looked for the evidence to make sure I have it. And then I tried to push my thinking a little bit more, knowing that I didn't have everything I needed. Okay, so those are things that you can be doing all the time in reading workshop. It's kind of doing this process and pushing yourself and your partner. I didn't change the session type thing. So again, there's the reading tip, the process. The last 5 minutes of workshop either have a, oh wait, no, that was for tomorrow. Sorry, tomorrow you'll have a post-it note to bring back to talk about your ideas. But today is all about celebrating. So have maybe an entry or a post-it note you did last week or 2 weeks ago. Okay, and then have an entry from today or a post-it note today that shows how your thinking has grown. How has it changed since the beginning of this unit to today? Okay, what are some new ways you're thinking about characters and looking for information? Or maybe how you're writing about evidence. So have something, a comparison, something old you've done and something from today that shows all the things that you have learned so far in this first bend. Okay, alrighty. So think about those habits you need to develop. Make sure you have that an entry from before and an entry from now. Okay, Dr. Shorts.